in a secret places. Disappoint them, Lord. Expose them faces. Hide us under your wings. God, the world need your help right now. So we know, God, we make a need your help right now. We need your help. God, the world need your help right now. We need your help. God, we make a need your help right now. Some embrace of the dash way. Corruption, rebellion, greed, and envy. Forgive us, Jesus, on behalf of our nation, Lord, we repent. Few remnants left, and we refuse to take the mark on the base crown, yeah. Workers and iniquity, scatter them, my fire. Oh, God, we make a need of help right now. We need your help, my God. Oh, God, the world need your help right now. We need your love. Oh, God, we make a need of help right now. We find it trouble. World in a trouble.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of PEFA Youth Department Doni, and we're so glad to have you. We're so glad you're watching. I am your host for the day, Ahadu Amboy, and I have two guests with me today. We're going to be discussing how Corona has affected relationships at work, at school, families, and of course romantic relationships. I have two guests with me today. Go ahead and introduce yourselves. I'll start with you.
Thank you, Hadi, and thank you for having me. My name is Georges Mutinda. A member and a youth of this church. I love the Lord. Thank you.
Amen. And what do you do for work?
I'm an Uber driver. Or in short, I'm in transport industry.
Okay,
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself.
Thank you very much for having me today. My name is Abel Kweyu Amunze, a member of this church and a youth of this church. I'm an engineer by profession, and then also a businessman.
Okay, welcome. You guys are both looking sharp.
Thank you.
I like the look. So, let's go straight into it. Both of you are in romantic relationships, right? You're both dating, courting. What's the right term? Dating, courting? Dating. Okay, and you guys were meant to get married this year, right? So how did that go? Corona just came suddenly and just ruined all our plans. So, judges, tell us a bit of your story, how Corona affected your relationship.
Wow. Thank you. So this year, me and my sweetheart, we had our plans, and from March, we were planning that we go and meet my parents, and then after we meet my parents, I go with some of my boys for introduction to the girls' home, and after that, maybe 1 or 2 months later, then we can go now for the dowry negotiations. That was in March. So I was planning March and April to do that. And March,
Corona.
the first
Case.
the first case was introduced in Kenya. And so after that, so many restrictions from the government, the curfew, no going out of Nairobi and in Nairobi. So everything was messed up from there.
Wow. Abel, what's your story?
Wow, I think this is one of the toughest experiences probably I've ever had in my life. Actually, for me, together with my sweetheart, we had planned this wedding to happen in April. All along since last year, we had the dowry negotiation, introductions. And then we were set for 11th April. Then after doing all the legal matters and going all the processes, having the service providers and stuff in place, I think it was halted by the movement cessation. So we couldn't move, either accessing each other. I believe it was on, the cessation was from 11th. And then there's nothing we could do other than just holding everything, then being patient, see what next. Yeah.
So both of you guys, what pressure, what was the first thought that got into your head, that popped into your head when you had, there's no movement, we can't do anything? What did that mean to you in terms of getting married? Judges?
Wow. So first, I just thought now everything has come to a halt. Because now, one, there was a restrictions of, no gathering of people more than 15. So, me as Georges, with the many friends that I have, and the many families that I have. So I knew now I'm done. So I could not take her to our home. Okay, having in mind where we live, the chief is just nearby. You know, so chief will just hear of the noise and then he'll come for us. Two, you know, people in the upcountry, even now, when they see anyone from Nairobi, I mean, they'll go for the chief. I know this one was to be a gathering, because you know how it means to go to the girl's place. So there was nothing was to happen. So one, everything came to a standstill, beginning from me going to our place because of the restrictions of people and the gathering, and two, me going to her place. So we were left stranded. What do we do? Yeah. So do we do these things on Zoom, or what do we do? Yeah.
Abe, did you also feel the pressure of let's just do this, let's go to the AG or something, get this over with?
Yeah,
this
sure.
is too much pressure.
There's when you get so much advices from guys. I believe it was everybody was trying to give her views depending on how we can do it. Before then, I talked to my spiritual father and I told him, now how are you going to say this stuff? Tutafanya namna gani? Then he told me, at times we always prepare for the good, but then we don't plan for the negative.
For the bad, yeah.
I think it caught me. So I decided, by then I decided to postpone the wedding before even they could halt the movements. Because I remember I was supposed to go travel for getting the certificate and stuff, maybe just for the final stuff, on first. So in preparation for the wedding on 11th. But then I had to halt because, just travel, by the fact that I will be traveling, then, I would always expose those guys probably at my place. So I opted to halt everything before we could go in and probably have more guys infected at our places. So I opted to accept the situation, and then I also decided to take some of the precautions. Like I wouldn't want my loved ones to be victims of this. So I opted now to postpone, and then I just had to communicate to everyone. At least they understand the situation. Though most of them couldn't get it because now people are still wedding, people are still moving. I mean, what's wrong with you? You have the lady with you, you've paid everything. I mean, the wedding is on 11th. How can you decide to postpone this? So making all the old men back at home and convincing them that now we're putting this to a halt. It wasn't quite easy. So they opted to have a celebration on 11th back at home just to at least have something to stick on, because I know they had waited for quite a while. And then I had also to convince the lady that let's just give it a pause. Na tukamua.
Na ilikuwa sawa.
Ilimchukua muda sana. Najua kwa muda ilikuwa kila wakati nampigia simu. Nimuulize vipi hali, but then she didn't have that. Angeza kukubali. Couldn't accept it.
Yeah, judges. Yes. How did your fiancé react when you were like, we have to just pause, then we'll come back to it later? What was her response?
So first, she said, at her parents' place, it's in Juja, but we can still go to Juja, and my parents are in Nairobi. So she was like, we can go to your parents, and at the same time, we can go to my parents in Juja, because we can still go there.
Yeah.
But having in mind the neighbors around there, I mean, they call the chief for you. So I was trying to avoid the embarrassments. Yeah. I mean, for my day, because it's our day, okay? Yeah. And so she's been trying to get all types of ways that we can do this thing. In fact, for her, she was okay with the 15 people married. But no, there are so many things that we have not done, okay? So she pushed me somehow. And so in June, I now decided her pressure has got so much into me. So I decided, no, let me take her to my parents. I mean, let's start somewhere. So that now she can see I'm also thinking about it. Because there's a way we men, we just relaxed.
Yeah.
I mean, you just wait. There's time,
Sure.
But not for them. They're like, no. We we had planned for this year. So already in June, we're heading to July, you know. So she's like, I already told my friends, my parents are waiting.
She's
So
anxious.
what's up?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just took the step and I took her to my parents just to show her that there's something cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we've started something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the message I'm getting from both of you is the weddings are still on. Regardless, we're still going to do it after this.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
What's the biggest adjustment that you guys had to make during this corona period? What were you doing before that you had to change up during this period? I'll start with you, Abel.
Yeah, there were so much items probably that we used to do before COVID. I personally as an individual, and then probably together with my fiancé, and probably also at a place of work. Before COVID, you know, we used to spend
Time together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
time together. You know, you could when it's probably a weekend, you know, you could come together, probably have a cup of tea, some small dinners and stuff. But then ikawa, it was cut off. And then you saw interaction and visiting, it was quite frequent. But then we had to live with this. Now you have to stay at your place all through the day. If you're not going at work, then you're just in your house. And probably now what we have to now tomorrow is phone calls, maybe video calls and stuff. This is where we had to invest in.
Yeah.
And then at least we have some comfort now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
sure.
for you, Georges?
One thing about me, I love traveling. I love adventure. So same to my baby. She loves it too. And so I was planning, before we get married, we do some adventures, some traveling. Because right now, meeting is probably 1 hour. Because there are things you don't want to do, the house meetings, okay? The same way, you don't want to visit people. Because nowadays, visiting people has become part of a crime, I don't know, somehow, unless it's your family. So, so much things have changed in terms of what I planned about her. So nowadays, we do a lot of, just the same way my colleague has said, phone calls, video calls, and with meeting, not just how we used to do. We just like schedule for a 1 or 2 hours meeting, and then having in mind the hotels and restaurants have closed. Some places where we could visit, they're not working anymore.
Sure.
So we've decided nowadays it's just a 1 or 2 hours meeting, and then we are done. So there are things we are trying to avoid.
So in the last part of this discussion, we wanted to get you guys questions. So we asked you to send us questions anonymously so that we can tackle them, and you sent a few in. And right now we're going to have a special guest, Mrs. Bishop, our mom. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about yourself.
My name is Donna Kilioba. I'm born again. I'm married to Bishop Kilioba. I'm an ordained minister and a counseling psychologist by profession. Yeah, that's little about myself.
Okay, welcome.
Yes.
So
Thank
that we
you.
can tackle these issues that our youth have.
Thank you.
So the first question, let me just find it. The first question, I have realized during this isolation that I don't love my boyfriend. We have nothing in common. I was just excited with emotions. How can I break up with him?
That's an interesting question. I would begin by saying that it's good that you have realized that you don't have emotions for your boyfriend. But I would have a question. Is it because you are not meeting physically, or is it because you just feel you don't have love for that person anymore?
Yeah.
Because if it is emotions that used to drive that relationship, then that relationship cannot go too far. Because when you get married, it's not only emotions that will take the center play, because sometimes there are no emotions, but still you have love for that person.
Yeah.
So for you, I do not quite understand why you say during this period that you don't have any emotions for your boyfriend. So if really your relationship was based on those emotions, it is good for you to call it quits, because I don't see it going too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had it here. Let it be. The next one, can opinions from people we look up to cause us to miss out on our blessings? If yes, what can one do to ensure that doesn't happen? So I think this one is looking up to someone and is wondering, can that interfere with blessings in my life?
I think that this is something that is happening in some of the families, and especially when you are in a relationship and probably your parents do not approve of that relationship. And many times you find the tribe plays a big role. Maybe you're in a relationship with somebody from a tribe where your parents do not approve. So they'll come and try to talk you out of that relationship. The Bible says that children should obey their parents. But having said that, I want to say that as parents, we want the best for our children. We want you to get a partner who will make your life happy. Because if you're not happy in your marriage, it does not only affect you, it will also affect the extended family, your parents, and so on and so forth. But having said that, you need to listen to yourself. What does your conscience say? Do you feel your conscience is leading you to do that thing that those significant others are telling you not to do? So as much as they are giving their opinions, but you should also listen to them and see if those opinions are based on the Word of God. If it's not based on the Word of God, then politely talk to them and tell them, I've prayed about this and I feel the Lord leading me differently. You don't have to give in just because they are your parents, because sometimes your parents may come and influence you and then you do something that you will regret the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Just as I said, if it's a relationship and they are telling you to come out of that relationship because this person comes from a tribe they do not approve of, how about if you get married to somebody from your tribe and it doesn't work?
Yeah.
You blame those people the rest of your life. So as much as they are giving their opinions, listen to what your conscience is saying and listen and see whether it is based on the Word of God. If not, tell them politely that you appreciate their opinions, but you choose to go the way of God, and ask them also to support you. Yeah.
So basically have the spirit of discernment.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, the next one is a controversial one. What is your opinion on age gaps? Is 10 years a big gap if the man is older?
I really wondered about this question. Why the man? Because even the woman can also be older by 10 years. Is it okay if the woman is older by 10 years? Okay, but let's address the question, the age gap. The age gap, you'll find that most people will go in for 5 years and below, the difference of 5 years and below. But that does not mean if you fall in love with somebody who is 10 years, you cannot get married. You can still get married if you really feel that you are meant for one another. But having said that, one has also to be very careful when you are with this age gap, because these days what I see even in social media, it just draws me back, because you find somebody of your father's age and you want to get married to that person. You get somebody who is 20 years older than you, 30 years older than you, and you want to get married to that person. Reasons I don't know. But maybe you have looked at this man, he's already established, he has a good house, he's driving a very nice car, and you feel this is the right person. Love is not based on material things. But if you choose that you want to get married to somebody who is much, much older than you, above 10 years and so on and so forth, get into that relationship knowing that you will lose your social life. Because your age mates will not be there with you. When this man maybe wants to go and meet his age mates, those old guys, you go there and you don't fit in that group. They're talking about things that you are not interested in. So you'll miss on your social life. So before you go that direction, think again. But I wouldn't advise a young girl to get married to that old mzee. Get somebody within your age bracket, somebody you'll begin together with, you'll grow together, have children and raise them up together. Not the mzee whom, even the children will be wondering whether is this granddad or this is our father. So one has to consider all that before they get married to somebody who is much, much older than them. But for me, 10 years, if you love each other, there's no problem, you can go ahead.
So how old is too old? Past 10 years now, we've gone too far.
Well, past 10 years, I think now the gap is too far. But as I said, there are exceptional cases. There could be a reason why you have chosen to marry that person. So I don't want, to rule it out. I will leave the decision to the two people. But I just gave an example of, something like 15 years and, above. It is too far. You will lose your social life. Yes. And you will regret, because even your friends, you will lose even your friends. Because the things they are doing,
there's nothing in common.
There's nothing in common. So you are going to lose your friends. So consider all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as too young for marriage? As being too young for marriage, basically?
I would say yes, there is. Because when you are thinking of getting married, first and foremost, you must be an adult. Even in our constitution, you must be an adult. You must have an ID. That means you should be above 18 years before you get married. The other day, I was watching news, and there is this little girl, 14 years old, and she gave birth to triplets. And the father is 13 years old. Tell me, are these children able to take care of those babies? And, the girl was being interviewed and she was excited. She said, well, I'm so happy because I have 3 boys. Are you giving birth to those kids for your parents to raise them up after they have raised you, or you are the one who's going to raise those kids? You are still school going. A 13-year-old is still in primary. They have not even gone to high school. So are you ready to be a mother? So I would want to say that yes, there is an age for you to decide you want to get married. You must be a mature adult to get married, so that you are not passing on your burdens to other people. Your mother has already raised you up. Why do you want her to start raising up your kids also? Because you are having kids when you are still a baby. So one has to think about it before you become a mother. Ask yourself this question: am I ready for motherhood? Am I ready for fatherhood? Yes.
Are you ready for the responsibility that comes with raising children, building a home?
Exactly.
All those are very heavy things for people who are obviously 13 and 14.
Exactly.
So, yes.
Yeah.
I have a guy who is ready to marry me, but on my side, I am not ready. And I am afraid of losing him because he may wait too long for me to agree. What should I do?
Well, whoever asked this question, I think they really love this guy. But on the other hand, they are not ready to get married. One thing I know is that it's very rare for somebody really to get to a place and you feel, now I am ready to go. I personally, I wouldn't say that I really go to a point and I said, now I am ready to go. Because there is that fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
So, what was the intention of this girl getting into that relationship? Where was it leading to? And if you are getting in the relationship to get married, then what is hindering you? If there is something very important that is making you feel that you are not ready and you love this person, then sit down and discuss. Put things on the table. Tell the person, because of ABCD, I cannot get married now, but give me some time, and agree on the period that this guy is going to wait for you. Rightly, this person has put the question, this question right. If you overstay, there are so many other people who are looking for husbands, and you might lose this man. and you will regret the rest of your life. Maybe you are in school, you have not finished college, or you are looking for a job before you get married. Discuss with this guy so that he knows that you are still interested. Otherwise, if you just leave him in suspense, he'll get somebody else who is serious, and they'll move on, and you'll regret the rest of your life.
Okay. So is there such a thing as being ready for marriage? Like, do people ever get to that point where they feel like, okay, now I'm ready to get married? Because I feel like that's a new thing. As you said, something unknown. You've never done it before. So is there such a thing as being ready?
What I know is that most people would give themselves roughly a time. Maybe I want to get married between 25 years and 30 years. So any time within that, gap, you can get married. But for most people, it is not really specific. Yeah. You can just, tell yourself, as a young girl, I will be happy if I get married within this period, because I would have done some of the things that I want to do before I get into this new responsibility. And most people that I've talked to, that's what they have done. Yes.
Okay, the next question is, what character do you think is vital for a youth to develop in order to keep their life in check and sustain their relationship?
I would say that the bottom line is the Word of God. If we hide the Word of God in our hearts, then it will shape us, it will keep us in check. And sometimes you look at a young girl or a young boy, and the things that they are involved in, it's questionable. They are not material for marriage. They are there, maybe boys will take you out on a date, but they look at your character and they say, this one, I cannot marry, because of the way you are conducting yourself. How do you present yourself to the young men? Or if you are a young man, how do you present yourself to the young girls? You must be presentable, you must be focused, and you must be somebody who is mature enough that when a prospective girlfriend or boyfriend looks at you, they can see a future partner in you. But if you just live a careless life, you don't care what you are doing, nobody will really be interested in you. They'll play around with you, but nobody will propose to marry you. Yeah.
Okay, our last question as we wrap up. I am having a problem getting over my ex because he keeps texting me every month to check up on me. What do I do? And I think this person asked because they care. I think if they didn't care, they wouldn't have asked.
Yeah, that is very true. The person cares, but I would also want to ask that person who brought that relationship to an end. That would be the first question. And what are the reasons that brought the relationship to an end? Because still I can see there is a relationship there. If this guy keeps, checking on you, it means he still cares. He still has some emotions towards you. He still loves you. And you also still love that person. That's why you respond to those texts. Otherwise, you would have blocked that person, or you would not even be responding to those texts. So, my advice to whoever asked that question is that take a stock of yourself. Have you completely severed, the relationship? Is it over, or it can be revived? And I have seen some people who break their relationships, then they revive it and they get married. So I don't know whether this one could be leading that direction. So just re-examine yourself. Why are you still communicating? Are you in another relationship, or you are not in a relationship? But if you are serious that it is over, then you need to tell each other that you are wasting time for one another. You need to move on. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've had it. Thank you so much to all the young people who sent in their questions. We hope that you addressed them in a proper way. Thank you to Mom for coming through and answering our questions.
You're welcome.
Okay, that's it. Thank you guys for joining us for this discussion. We hope that you were blessed with the words of Mrs. Bishop and that you learned something new from Georges and Abel. Join us again next week for a part 2. And in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment below and tell us how Corona has affected your relationship. Bye-bye.